There is a moment in life where we stand at a crossroads, two paths, two choices, and the weight of our future resting on the direction we take. One path is well-trodden, lined with distractions, fleeting pleasures, and the comforting lull of conformity. It is where the majority walk, moving in a rhythm dictated by the world's expectations. The other path is narrow, winding, and uncertain. It demands discipline, resilience, and a mind unchained. From the noise of the masses, this is the path of the Stoics, the path of those who think differently, who rise above impulse, who command their own destiny. It is not an easy road, nor is it meant to be, but it is the path that leads to greatness. It is the path that makes you your best self. Most people do not think for themselves. They allow emotions to drive them, distractions to own them, and fleeting trends to define them. But the Stoics saw things differently. They believed that true power comes from mastering the self, from shaping the mind in a way that is unbreakable, unshakable, and immune to the chaos of the external world. This is not about rejecting emotions, but about understanding them. Not about ignoring hardship, but about using it as fuel for transformation. The world does not happen to you, it happens for you, but only if you choose to see it that way. Only if you recognize that adversity is not here to break you. It is here to build you into something greater. And once you truly accept this, nothing will ever feel impossible again today. You and I embark on this journey together, not with vague ideas or empty motivation, but with real time-tested principles that have shaped some of the greatest thinkers, warriors, and leaders in history. Today we learn how to think differently, and in doing so, become our best selves. Chapter 1: Escaping the mental escape, the mental prison. Prison. Most people exist in a mental prison. They do not even recognize they. Wake up, go through the motions, react rather than act, and never question whether the thoughts they carry are truly their own. The Stoics believed that the world does not enslave us. Our thoughts do. The first step in thinking differently is realizing how much of what we believe has been programmed into us by external forces, social conditioning, past experiences, fears, and assumptions. This conditioning runs deep, shaping our emotions, reactions, and even our sense of identity from childhood. We are given labels, expectations, and unspoken rules about how life should be lived. We inherit worries from society, from our families, from media, and rarely pause to ask, do these thoughts truly belong to me? Take a moment to reflect. How many of your daily worries are truly your own? How much of what you believe is a result of your independent reasoning, and how much is simply absorbed from the world around you? If you strip away the noise of the external world, what remains? Most people never question the script they've been handed. They repeat the same cycles, follow the same thought patterns, and never realize they are operating on autopilot. But you, if you want to walk the Stoic path, must break free. You must do what few are willing to do. Think deeply, critically, and without fear. This is not about rebellion for the sake of rebellion, nor about rejecting everything that society has taught you. It is about refining your beliefs, keeping only what strengthens you, and discarding what weakens you. The Stoics were not concerned with what was popular. They were concerned with what was right, with what was useful, with what made them stronger. This kind of thinking requires courage. It requires solitude, reflection, and the willingness to go against the grain when necessary. Most people fear standing alone in their beliefs. They would rather conform than risk discomfort. But the true thinker, the true Stoic, understands that growth only happens when we question, when we dissect our assumptions, when we refuse to accept anything at face value. Thinking differently is an art and a discipline. It is not a one-time realization, but a continuous process of refinement. Every day you are bombarded with opinions, assumptions, and social pressures that try to shape your reality. If you do not take ownership of your mind, someone else will. To break free from this, you must cultivate a habit of deep self-inquiry. Keep a journal. Write down your fears, your assumptions, your reactions, then challenge them. Why do you believe what you believe? Does it hold up to scrutiny? Is it serving you, or is it holding you back? You must also embrace solitude. The greatest thinkers in history: Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, valued time alone. They knew that, without moments of stillness, without stepping back from the noise, they could not truly hear their own thoughts. In modern life, solitude is rare. People fill every moment with distractions, social media, entertainment, endless tasks. But if you never allow yourself to sit with your thoughts, how can you ever know yourself? How can you ever break free? Solitude is not loneliness. It is presence. It is sitting with your own mind, facing your thoughts, and forging your inner world. The Stoics understood that the ability to be alone with oneself is a mark of strength. It is in solitude that we can separate what is real from what is illusion, what is within our control from what is not. Is where we sharpen our perception and free ourselves from the distortions of external influences. Think different. If you do not cultivate moments of stillness, your mind will always be at the mercy of the world. The constant flood of noise, opinions, and expectations will dictate your emotions, your choices, and your identity. But in solitude, you regain control, you gain clarity. You begin to hear the voice that is truly yours, not one shaped by the demands of the crowd. Practice this daily, even if it's for just a few minutes. Sit in silence, observe your thoughts, question them, redirect them. Thinking differently also requires courage. You will face resistance when you begin to challenge the status quo, whether in your personal life, your career, or your worldview. People will question you. They may ridicule you. They may try to pull you back into the comfortable, the familiar. It is human nature to conform, to seek belonging, to avoid standing out. But the Stoic does not seek validation from the crowd. The Stoic seeks truth. You must be willing to stand alone if necessary, to trust your reasoning, to own your perspective. The greatest innovators, leaders, and philosophers throughout history were those who dared to think differently. They were not shackled by convention. They did not fear disagreement. They embraced the challenge of independent thought. They were often misunderstood, sometimes ostracized, but ultimately they shaped the world. Do not fear thinking for yourself. Do not fear questioning what others accept. Blindly, strength of mind is built through confrontation. Confrontation with one's own assumptions and confrontation with the beliefs imposed by society. Ask yourself today, what thoughts am I carrying that do not serve me? What fears have I adopted without question? What if I began to think entirely for myself? If you can answer these questions honestly, you will already be ahead of most. But this is only the beginning. Thinking differently is not just an act of rebellion. It is a commitment to wisdom. It is a lifelong discipline. Everyday question, every day. Refine the mind is the greatest prison, but it is also the greatest source of liberation. The key has always been in your hands, and once you learn to wield it, you will become unstoppable. Chapter 2. Mastering the inner world. Inner world, Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And he was right. The greatest battles are not fought on the outside but within the mind. The way you think about problem, setbacks, and even yourself determines your entire life. Imagine two people facing the same hardship, a job loss, a betrayal, a failure. one spirals into self-doubt, blaming the world, drowning in frustration, becoming very cynical, not just with the world, but with themselves, sinking into depression. Their thoughts become an echo chamber of negativity, reinforcing feelings of helplessness. Every thought becomes an accusation against life itself. A lament over what could have been. The other sees it as an opportunity, a lesson, a chance to build resilience. They understand that, while they cannot change the past, they have complete control over how they respond to it. They take ownership of their thoughts, refusing to be enslaved by circumstances. The event is the same, but their response changes everything. This is where the Stoics excelled. They understood that we do not control the world, but we control our interpretation of it. They saw that reality itself is neutral. It is our thoughts that color it, our perception that defines its impact. If we see hardship as destruction, we suffer. If we see hardship as a forge in which we are shaped into something stronger, we grow. This is how you begin to think differently by questioning your first reaction. When something happens, do not react immediately. Pause, observe, ask yourself, what is the most powerful way I can see this? This does not mean denying emotions or pretending nothing affects you. It means taking control over your perception, mastering your response. If you can control your perception, you can control your life. To cultivate this, the Stoics practiced what we now call negative visualization. They would imagine losing everything, facing their worst fears, and then ask themselves, even if this happened, would I survive this? Exercise did not make them pessimistic. It made them fearless by mentally rehearsing adversity. They ensured that if it ever arrived, they would not be caught off guard. Instead of fearing the worst, they familiarized themselves with it. They made peace with uncertainty so that when real hardship arose, they met it as an expected guest, not an unwelcome intruder. But negative visualization goes deeper than just preparing for the worst. It sharpens the mind to value the present. When you imagine losing something, whether it be your health, your job, or a loved one, it reminds you of its true worth. It keeps you from taking things for granted. By facing loss in the mind, you learn to cherish what you have. In reality, this is how the Stoics cultivated gratitude, not through blind optimism, but through an understanding of impermanence. This practice is also a tool for emotional resilience. Imagine the next time you face rejection, failure, or loss. Instead of reacting with despair, you have already rehearsed it in your mind. You have stripped it of its shock, removed its ability to shake you. You become someone who is not easily rattled, someone who moves through life with a quiet confidence, unshaken by the winds of fate. There is also a practical element to this. By anticipating difficulties, you are better prepared when they come. A warrior does not enter battle hoping never to be struck. They train for the blow. They prepare their mind for the impact. So too must you train your mind for hardships so that when it arrives, you do not flinch. You respond with strength, with clarity, with purpose. Try this today. Whatever fear grips you, whether it's failure, embarrassment, rejection, imagine the worst-case scenario, not just briefly but in full detail. Feel it. Step into it. Let it wash over you, and then ask yourself, would I endure? The answer is almost always yes. Even if it happened, even if everything fell apart, you would find a way forward. Most of what we fear is nothing more than a shadow in the mind, exaggerated by our imagination. Fear is a storyteller, and often it tells lies. By confronting fear, by staring it in the face instead of running from it, you take away its power, you reclaim control, and in that moment, you begin to think differently, not as a victim of circumstance, but as the master of your own mind, your own fate. Chapter 3: The Art of The art of indifference. Indifference. Epictetus, the once enslaved Stoic philosopher, taught that the key to freedom is realizing what is within your control and what is not. Most people waste energy on things that do not matter. What others think of them, things they cannot change, outcomes beyond their grasp. Yet, they obsess, ruminate, and allow these concerns to dictate their emotions, their mood, and ultimately their quality of life the Stoic way. Indifference to what does not serve you. Not coldness, not apathy, but strategic, disciplined indifference. This is an active choice, a practice, a muscle that must be strengthened. It is not about suppressing feelings, but about choosing where to invest them. Imagine a warrior standing in battle, would they waste time being angry at the wind, at the rain, at the noise of the crowd, or would they focus entirely on their stance, their strategy, their next move? The wise warrior knows that attention is a finite resource. So does the wise thinker. Indifference in this sense is not a lack of care, but the ability to direct care where it truly matters. The Stoic does not ignore emotions, but evaluates them, assessing whether they contribute to strength or weakness. It is an art of detachment, of recognizing what is within our influence and what is not. There is an immense freedom in this understanding when you realize that no amount of frustration, stress, or overthinking can alter what is beyond your control. You free yourself from a self-imposed burden. Ask yourself how much of your daily stress comes from things outside your control. The traffic, the opinions of strangers, the past, the future. Now imagine a life where these things no longer dictated your inner peace. What if you simply let go? What if, instead of worrying, you focused entirely on what you can control: your actions, your thoughts, your responses? This is not about carelessness. It is about clarity. A person who hones this skill is not numb to the world. They are immune to its unnecessary burdens. Imagine how this shift in thinking could change your daily interactions when someone criticizes you. Instead of reacting emotionally, you recognize that their opinion belongs to them, not you. When something unexpected disrupts your plans, instead of spiraling into frustration, you remind yourself that only your response is within your control. When life throws hardship your way, instead of asking, "Why me?" you ask, "How will I handle this?" You shift from being a passive participant in life to an active creator of your own destiny. This is the mark of those who think differently. While the world panics, they remain calm, while others seek approval. They seek self-mastery while others rage against what they cannot change. They refine themselves into something unstoppable. Imagine being this person, someone who moves through life with unshakable composure, who walks into a room radiating confidence not because they control everything, but because they do not waste energy on what they cannot. They do not seek control over the world. They seek control over themselves, and in that they achieve the deepest form of power. Picture yourself mastering this. Practice over time. At first, it may feel unnatural, as if you are swimming against the current of everything you have ever known, but with daily reflection, self-awareness, and discipline, you gradually become untouchable to petty irritations and external chaos. You become someone whose emotions are steady, whose responses are deliberate, whose presence is undeniable. People sense this. They see the difference in you, not because you are louder, but because you are centered, unshaken, and composed in the face of disorder. As you cultivate this ability, your mind becomes a fortress. The worries and distractions that once dictated your emotions lose their grip. The noise of the world fades into the background, replaced by an inner stillness. You start to see what truly matters. what is worth your energy, and what is best left alone. When others are reactive, you are thoughtful. When others are thrown off course by trivialities, you remain steady. This transformation does not happen overnight. It requires practice, patience, and an unwavering commitment to growth. You will stumble. There will be days when you slip back into old patterns, when emotions get the better of you. But each time you recognize this and correct course, you strengthen the habit of resilience, and over time you will find that situations that once disturbed you no longer have power over you. You will look back and realize that the version of you that once reacted impulsively is gone, replaced by someone who embodies wisdom, poise, and an unshakable sense of self. You become a force of nature, someone who dictates the terms of their own inner peace, not because the world has changed, but because you have changed. Because you have built an inner world so strong that no external force can break it. This is not just philosophy, it is a way of being, a mastery of mind, a command over the self, and ultimately freedom from the unnecessary suffering that consumes so many. This is what it means to think differently. This is what it means to be truly free. Chapter 4. The fire within fire. Within using obstacles as fuel. One of the most profound ideas in Stoicism is that obstacles are not barriers, they are stepping stones. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is the mindset shift that separates the ordinary from the great. When most people encounter difficulty, they see it as a roadblock, a dead end. That stifles progress. The Stoics saw it as a tool, a gift, a chance to sharpen themselves. They believed that hardship was not an obstacle to avoid, but a teacher to embrace. They understood that through struggle we refine ourselves, stripping away weaknesses and emerging stronger. The next time you face hardship, whether big or small, ask yourself, how can I use this? If something goes wrong, use it as an opportunity to practice patience. If someone insults you, use it to master your emotions. If you fail, use it to build resilience. Every challenge is a chance to improve the world. Does not happen to you, it happens for you. But I went this one step further. Do not just passively wait for hardship to appear. Seek it out. Put yourself in situations that test you, that challenge your limits, that force you to grow. Voluntary discomfort as practiced by the Stoics was a way to build endurance. Take cold showers, wake up early with purpose even. On a weekend, fast for a day, engage in difficult conversations. Push yourself beyond comfort so that when real adversity comes, you will not flinch. You will be prepared. But why stop at just physical discomfort? True endurance is forged in the mind. Choose intellectual discomfort. Read books that challenge your worldview. Engage in debates that test your logic, and sit in silence too. Confront your deepest fears. Push yourself beyond the familiar, beyond the safe, into the realm of true growth. Emotional discomfort is just as valuable. Have the hard conversations you've been avoiding. Admit your faults, let go of grudges, and accept responsibility for your failures. These are the trials that shape the strongest minds. Every moment of difficulty is a weight for you to lift, strengthening your character. Think of an athlete training their body without resistance. There is no growth. The same applies to your mind. If you avoid struggle, you remain weak. If you embrace it, you become powerful. This is how the Stoics became unshakable, how they cultivated an iron will, how they transformed obstacles into stepping stones. They knew that comfort is seductive, but hardship is transformative, even beyond your own personal trials. Learn to view every challenge as an opportunity for refinement. A long line at the store is a test of patience. An insult is a test of your emotional control. A financial loss is a test of your resilience when someone wrongs you. You are being given a moment to practice forgiveness. When you fail at something, you are being given a chance to build persistence. Life will never run out of ways to challenge you. The question is, will you step up to meet them? Will you? Lean into discomfort instead of running from it? Will you stop resenting hardship and start using it, but take it even further? Learn to embrace struggle with gratitude. See it not as something to merely endure, but as a gift. Every moment of resistance is a moment of growth. Every obstacle is shaping you into something stronger, wiser, and more disciplined. You are not here to simply exist. You're here to be tested, to evolve, to become someone who is beyond the ordinary. The world does not happen to you, it happens for you, but only if you choose to see it that way. Only if you recognize that adversity is not here to break you. It is here to build you into something greater. And once you truly accept this, nothing will ever feel impossible again. Chapter 5. The Daily Practice. Practice of becoming unstoppable. To live by these principles is not to simply know them, but to apply them daily, relentlessly, until they are woven into the fabric of who you are. Wake up each day and ask yourself, what is within my control? Then focus on that. Train your mind to see obstacles as fuel. Practice strategic indifference to what does not serve you. Question every thought that does not strengthen you. Most will never do this. They will live as prisoners of their emotions, their impulses, their distractions. They will allow the world to dictate their mood, their sense of self-worth, and their actions. They will react rather than respond, trapped in an endless cycle of seeking validation and fearing discomfort. They will never pause to ask themselves, am I truly in control of my life, or am I merely drifting with the current? Do not let impulses dictate your life. Many waste their days chasing fleeting pleasures, spending hours on video games without purpose, consuming adult content that deteriorates their mind and their ability to focus, numbing themselves with alcohol and drugs, or smoking constantly to satisfy a craving that only weakens them. These habits erode discipline, distort reality, and diminish the strength of both mind and body. Every time you succumb to an impulse, you give away a piece of your self-control, reinforcing the cycle of weakness that keeps so many people enslaved to their desires. This is not the path of someone in control of themselves. This is not how a person who commands their own destiny operates. True power comes from mastery over desires, not from indulging them. The weak seek temporary pleasure, while the strong seek lasting fulfillment. If you wish to be free, eliminate these distractions from your life. Choose clarity over numbness. Choose strength over momentary relief. Choose progress over stagnation. But do not just quit these habits. Replace them with better ones. Train your mind and body every day. Read books that challenge you. Engage in physical exercise that pushes your limits. Create instead of consume. Discipline is not just about avoidance, but about building a new foundation of strength. When you remove one habit, replace it with something that strengthens you instead of weakening you. Walk away from the habits that weaken you now, not later, not after one last indulgence, not when it's more convenient. The time is now. The sooner you take action, the sooner you reclaim your mind. And once you walk away, never look back. There is nothing for you in the past, only forward, only growth, only mastery over yourself. But you who are on this path have the chance to rise above, to think differently, to become your best self. You have the rare opportunity to break free from the illusion of control over external events and instead master the only thing that ever truly belonged to you. Your mind, to discipline your thoughts, to sharpen your perception, to cultivate an unwavering sense of purpose. To achieve this, you must be willing to embrace discomfort, to challenge every weakness, and to take full ownership of your actions and responses. The mind is like a forge. Each challenge, each hardship, each test is the fire that strengthens it. Weakness is not an inherent state. It is a choice reinforced by habits. The strong do not avoid adversity. They use it. Every moment of hardship is an opportunity to sharpen yourself, to test your discipline, and to prove to yourself that you are the master of your mind. Not a slave to impulse. This is not just philosophy, it is a way of life. It is the way of the unshakable of those who refuse to be enslaved by impulse, by public opinion, by fear of failure. It is a daily practice of strength, clarity, and resilience. It is waking up every morning with the understanding that you control your mind, your actions, and your focus. It is moving through life with a mindset of growth, not stagnation. It is stepping forward into challenge rather than retreating into comfort. It is the realization that life is not about ease, but about mastery, about confronting what is difficult and emerging stronger. And if you embrace it fully, if you commit to walking this path, every day it will change everything. Not just how you see the world, but how the world responds to you. Because once you master yourself, you become unstoppable. You become someone who does not waver in uncertainty, who does not fold under pressure, who stands firm in the face of chaos. You cultivate a presence that commands attention, not because you seek validation, but because you exude control over yourself. Others may seek refuge in comfort, but you understand that greatness is forged in discomfort. There will be moments of weakness, moments when you question if the path is worth it. But the difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary is persistence. The world will always seek to pull you back to distractions, to comfort, to mediocrity. But you will resist every day. You will refine your discipline, sharpen your mind, and fortify your will. It is not an easy journey, but it is the only one worth taking. You become a force of nature, someone who dictates their own destiny, who commands respect, not through words, but through action. You develop an aura of quiet power, a mind that does not waver, a spirit that cannot be broken. You become the example others look to when they seek strength. The choice is yours. Remain bound by comfort and impulse, or rise to the level of discipline and strength that few will ever achieve. If you choose the latter, there are no limits to what you can become. The journey to becoming your best self does not end, it evolves. True mastery is not achieved in a single moment of insight, but through continuous refinement. The Stoics understood this well. They did not seek perfection, but progress. Each day was an opportunity to sharpen the mind, strengthen the will, and embody wisdom. Chapter 6: The Art of Self-Command. Self-command to command others. You must first command yourself. The world is filled with people who demand respect, yet they do not respect themselves. They seek to influence others, yet they cannot influence their own thoughts. They crave recognition, but lack the discipline to become someone worthy of it. The Stoic does not chase power. The Stoic becomes power. What does this mean? It means understanding that your mind, your emotions, and your actions are under your control. It means eliminating excuses, rejecting self-pity, and embracing total ownership over your existence. No one else is responsible for your discipline. No one else will fight your battles if you wish to command respect. Start by respecting yourself. If you wish to lead others first, learn to lead yourself. This begins with mastery over impulses. We have spoken of distractions, the trivial pursuits that consume time and energy without adding value. But self-command goes deeper. It is the ability to delay gratification to resist. The easy path to choose what is right over what is comfortable. It is the ability to recognize when an action serves your higher purpose or when it merely feeds weakness. When you develop this discipline, you gain an unshakable confidence. You move through life with presence, purpose, and power. True mastery of the self is not about suppressing desires, but about refining them. It is about directing your energy toward what is meaningful rather than what is momentarily gratifying. The ability to say no to what weakens you and yes to what strengthens you is what separates the disciplined from the undisciplined, the successful from the stagnant. Every decision you make either builds your strength or chips away at it. There is no neutral ground. The Stoics trained themselves daily to master their reactions or remain composed in the face of provocation and to act with intention rather than impulse. They understood that the strongest person in the room is not the one who shouts the loudest or demands attention. It is the one who controls themselves entirely. They do not let their emotions dictate their behavior. They do not allow external events to disturb their inner world. They embody restraint, wisdom, and composure. This is real power. To refine desires is to cultivate discernment. Not all pleasure is harmful, but not all pleasure is worthwhile. The wise understand which indulgences sharpen them and which weaken them. The disciplined do not reject pleasure. They channel it, ensuring that it aligns with their purpose rather than serving as a distraction from it. The mind must be trained to recognize the difference between fulfillment and fleeting satisfaction, between elevation and escapism. The ability to control one's urges is the defining trait of those who rise above mediocrity. This path requires patience. Mastery is not achieved in a single decision, but through relentless self-discipline. The Stoics did not become resilient overnight. They built their strength through repetition, through daily acts of control. They saw every temptation as a test, every challenge as an opportunity. They knew that true self-command is not about performing strength. It is about embodying it in every action, every thought, every response. Self-command is not just about resisting temptation. It is about actively shaping yourself into the person you want to become. Every decision, no matter how small, contributes to this process. The way you carry yourself, the discipline you show in your daily routines, and the effort you put into personal growth all reflect your level of self-mastery. The Stoics understood that every action is a form of training. Either you are training yourself to be weak, or you are training yourself to be strong. A critical component of self-fuel command is consistency. It is easy to be disciplined for a day or even a week, but true mastery requires unwavering commitment. Many fail because they allow momentary lapses to derail their progress. A single failure does not define you. What defines you is how you respond. Will you let one misstep spiral into a pattern of weakness, or will you correct course and reinforce your strength? The choice is yours. Self-command also involves mental fortitude, the ability to endure discomfort, to withstand criticism, and to persist when results are not immediate is what separates those who succeed from those who falter. The world is filled with distractions and easy paths, but the Stoic chooses the difficult road because they know it leads to genuine growth. To develop self-command, you must embrace challenges, not avoid them. You must push yourself beyond what is comfortable, knowing that true strength is built in adversity. Another vital aspect of self-command is emotional regulation. The undisciplined allow their emotions to control them, reacting impulsively to every slight frustration or fear. The Stoic, however, masters their emotions. They acknowledge their feelings, but do not become enslaved by them. When anger rises, they pause. When fear creeps in. Emotional regulation. They analyze it. When doubt surfaces, they remind themselves of their purpose. This is not suppression. It is mastery, the ability to feel deeply yet remain in control. Finally, self-command is about knowing your purpose and aligning your actions with it. Without a clear direction, discipline becomes a burden. Rather than a tool, the Stoics did not cultivate self-control for its own sake. They did so because it enabled them to live virtuously and pursue excellence. When you have a vision for who you want to be, self-command is no longer about restriction. It becomes a path to freedom. The more you control yourself, the less the world can control you. And in that, you become truly powerful. Ask yourself, am I in control of my actions? Or are my actions in control of me? Do I command my emotions, or do they command me true? Self-command is not about appearing strong to others. It is about actually being strong. It is about holding yourself to the highest standard, not for validation, but because you refuse to be anything less than excellent. It is about recognizing that every moment offers a choice to indulge weakness or to cultivate strength. The decision is yours. This is the foundation of influence, of leadership, of mastery. Chapter 7, the role of suffering. In growth, most people fear suffering. They see it as an enemy, as something to be avoided at all costs. But the Stoics embrace suffering as a teacher. They understood that hardship was not an obstacle, but a path. Every great mind, every strong leader, every remarkable person has been forged in the fires of adversity. They knew that suffering was not a curse, but a forge refining the weak into the strong, the uncertain into the resolute. Ask yourself, have you ever truly suffered? Have you ever faced a moment where you thought you could not endure, yet you did? What did it teach you? What did it strip away? Strength is not built in comfort. It is built in struggle. When you suffer, you are given an opportunity. You can break, or you can rise, and those who rise are the ones who go on to shape the world. There is no avoiding suffering in life. It comes to all in different forms at different times. The difference between those who crumble under its weight and those who emerge stronger is their mindset. The Stoic does not ask, why me? They ask, how will this make me better? They do not lament hardship. They welcome it as an ally in their growth. The suffering itself is not the lesson. The lesson is in how you respond to it. Hardship reveals who we truly are. It strips away the false comforts, the illusions of control, and the lies we tell ourselves. It forces us to confront our limitations, but it also shows us our capacity for resilience. There is no shortcut to inner strength. It is built in the moments when you want to quit, but push forward anyway. It is developed in the times when life knocks you down and you refuse to stay there. Every hardship is a teacher, a sculptor molding you into something greater than you were before. To resist, it is to resist growth. To embrace it is to unlock potential that few ever realize. Suffering is not an end, but a beginning. It is a doorway to something greater if you choose to walk through it. Most people turn back seeking the easy road, but the ones who step forward become the unshakable, the unbreakable. They do not merely endure hardship, they are transformed by it. The greatest achievements, the deepest wisdom, and the most profound growth all come from facing suffering head on and using it as fuel to become something greater. It is in those moments of despair and struggle that you have the greatest opportunity to rise, to fortify your mind, and to rewrite the story of who you are. Hardship does not care about your feelings, your plans, or your expectations. It arrives unannounced, indifferent to your readiness, but this is where the Stoic thrives. The Stoic does not curse the storm. They stand firm within it, unshaken, knowing that survival is not the goal. Transcendence is. They take the transcendence pain, the difficulty, the failure, and they shape it into an advantage, a tool for self-improvement. This mindset separates those who control their fate from those who are controlled by it. Pain is temporary, but the lessons it imparts are permanent. The body and mind adapt to hardship, growing stronger with each test. The first time you endure suffering, it feels unbearable. The second time you recognize it, the third time you embrace it, and eventually you learn to welcome it as a forge refining you, turning weakness into resilience, hesitation into resolve, and doubt into confidence. This transformation is what makes suffering not just necessary but valuable. When you suffer, you must ask, suffering yourself, what is this teaching me? How can I use this? Instead of allowing pain to break you, allow it to remake you. Every challenge you survive increases your power. Every moment of struggle is a stepping stone toward mastery. The world does not become easier, but you become stronger. This is the path of those who refuse to be ordinary. This is the path of those who rise. Suffering is the crucible in which true character is forged. Without trials, without hardship, we remain untested, soft and unprepared for life's inevitable storms. Those who seek only comfort rob themselves of the opportunity to grow. The Stoic understands that every difficulty carries with it the seed of transformation. To suffer is to be given the rare chance to cultivate strength, to build resilience, and to refine the mind into something unshakable. Every moment of suffering forces a choice: surrender or adaptation. Those who surrender allow their pain to define them, making excuses, blaming others, and shrinking into mediocrity. But those who adapt take suffering as fuel. They do not complain about misfortune. They use it. They do not dwell on what they have lost. They focus on what they can gain. Suffering becomes not a dead end, but a stepping stone to something greater. The greatest thinkers, warriors, and leaders in history did not achieve greatness despite suffering. They achieved it because of suffering. Hardship forced them to evolve. Pain drove them to seek wisdom. Struggle sharpened their instincts. If you look at the lives of those who changed the world, you will find that none of them were spared from suffering. Instead, they embraced it as the price of mastery, knowing that comfort breeds complacency, while hardship breeds greatness. The mind, like the body, must be exercised under resistance to grow stronger, just as a muscle must be pushed beyond its limits. To gain strength, so too must the mind be subjected to adversity. In order to develop resilience, the Stoic understands that by willingly embracing challenges, by seeking out discomfort, they are preparing themselves for anything life may bring. They train their willpower through discipline. They test their patience through hardship. And they cultivate wisdom through loss, through suffering. They ascend beyond the ordinary to truly think differently and become your best self. You must reframe your perspective on suffering. Instead of seeing it as something to be avoided, see it as an ally instead of resisting it. Lean into it. Let it shape you. Let it refine you. Let it strip away weakness and reveal the strength that lies beneath. Because in the end, suffering is not the enemy. It is the key to your embracing the Stoic mindset evolution. Chapter 8: Embracing the Stoic Mindset. Daily, a Stoic does not simply think differently, they live differently every day. is a test, an opportunity to practice. What we preach, the way you handle small challenges, reflects how you will handle great ones if you cannot control your temper in traffic. How will you control it in a crisis if you cannot resist minor temptations? How will you resist the ones that truly matter? Every decision you make, no matter how small, sets a precedent for how you will face larger obstacles in the future. Strength is not built in a moment. It is forged through daily choices, through intentional responses to every challenge, through unwavering discipline in the face of temptation. This is where daily practice comes in, journaling your thoughts, reflecting on your weaknesses, and making conscious choices to improve each day. Presents an opportunity to become stronger, more disciplined, and more aligned with your highest self. The key is consistency. One day of discipline does not make you great. Relentless commitment to daily improvement does. It is through this practice that the Stoic mind is hardened, the will is forged, and the spirit becomes unbreakable. A Stoic does not wait for inspiration. They rely on structure, habits, and deliberate action. They do not depend on motivation, which is fleeting, but on unwavering self-command. Every day, ask yourself, what did I do well? What did I fail at? How can I be better tomorrow? The Stoic does not seek overnight transformation, but continuous refinement. Brick by brick, they build an unshakable foundation. They understand that mastery is not a singular achievement, but a lifelong pursuit. True strength is developed over time through deliberate choices and unwavering commitment to progress. The greatest figures in history, those who shaped empires, led revolutions, and inspired generations, did not become who they were. In a moment, they were sculpted over years of disciplined failure and persistence. And if you wish to stand among them, you must adopt the same mindset to embrace this path fully. You must reject the illusion of instant gratification. The modern world conditions people to seek quick results, to expect immediate rewards. But the Stoic understands that real transformation is gradual. It is built through sacrifice, through enduring discomfort, through facing the hard truths about oneself, and making the necessary adjustments. The ability to delay gratification, to work towards something greater, to choose what is right over what is easy. This is what sets the Stoic apart. They do not seek momentary pleasure at the cost of long-term greatness. They do not fall for the easy way out, because they know that mastery demands effort. Every moment is an opportunity to exercise self-discipline. Do not let laziness steal your potential. Do not let distractions pull you away from the life you are capable of living. The true test of a Stoic is not in grand moments of heroism, but in the daily battle against complacency. Each challenge is a test, a chance to prove to yourself that you are in control. The disciplined mind does not allow small failures to become habits. It recognizes every slip, corrects the course, and presses forward. The disciplined life is a life of constant realignment, of relentless pursuit of excellence. Mastery does not happen in a single day, but in thousands of small, seemingly insignificant decisions that shape who you become. The ability to remain steady in the face of temptation, to choose responsibility over comfort, to train the body and mind in ways that push past perceived limitations. These are the hallmarks of a person who is truly free. For freedom is not the absence of rules, but the ability to impose the right rules upon yourself. Most people drift through life reacting to circumstances, seeking fleeting pleasures, making excuses for their lack of progress. But the Stoic understands that life is shaped not by what happens to us, but by how we choose to respond. Discipline must be cultivated in all aspects of life, physical, mental, and emotional. The body must be strengthened through consistent effort, through training that pushes past the edge of comfort. It must be subjected to rigorous challenges so that weakness is burned, away leaving only strength behind. The mind must be sharpened through study, through questioning assumptions, through seeking wisdom rather than entertainment. The ability to sit in silence, to contemplate and to absorb knowledge is a practice that few engage. And yet, it is what separates those who rise above mediocrity from those who remain stagnant. Emotions must be controlled, not suppressed, but mastered, so that they serve rather than rule over you. To be stoic is to train relentlessly in these areas, never allowing stagnation, never accepting weakness. This is the difference between those who command respect and those who chase it. A Stoic does not need approval because they have already approved of themselves through their disciplined actions. They do not react impulsively to the world. They act deliberately, shaping their fate through conscious choice. You are on this path. You have already chosen to think differently. Now take the next step. Move from understanding to action, from philosophy to practice. Recognize that each moment, each challenge, each hardship is an opportunity to reinforce your discipline. The discomfort you feel when resisting temptation, when pushing beyond your limits, when holding yourself accountable, that is the price of freedom. And freedom is the ultimate reward of self-discipline. Do not wait for the perfect time to begin. There is no perfect time. The time is now, because mastery is not about knowing. It is about becoming. It is about shaping yourself